Okay. Corey and I have both done this, and I don't know who else on Zeta has actually visited Japan,
Oh,
but they
I
were
was like,
requested.
what has Cori and Beej done?
Yeah, we could ask Paul. Paul, if you have advice, by all means, let's see what happens. This person is planning on visiting Japan for the first time in around November of 2024, and they're looking for some advice, what to do or what not to do, maybe places to check out, other things you should keep in mind. I would start off by saying that depending on where you go, Japan is a land of contrasts, and by that I mean contrasts in weather. If you're in November, because Heather and I visited in December, we actually stayed over the New Year holiday and came home on like the 3rd. So if you're visiting in November, the weather could be very clement. It could be like maybe 12, 14, 16 degrees. Like you walk around in like a light jacket or like in like a long sleeve shirt or whatever in Kyoto just fine, or in like, if you go to all the Hiroshima or something like that, it'll be nice enough out during the daytime that you could do that. But if you go further up the island into the Tohoku region, to like Sendai, Morioka, if you get all the way up towards Hokkaido, there's going to be like a lot of snow on the ground, and it will be cold.
It's interesting that there is such a
temperature discrepancy. Yeah.
Although, I mean, I guess because like Japan is not that much bigger than like Vancouver Island, right?
it is.
It is. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe I'm just looking.
So yeah.
But in terms of latitude, it's like the way it's tilted. It's like there's enough of a discrepancy that around that time of year, it can make a difference.
So as far as advice goes, definitely learn the names for like different units of money so that you can do commerce, because the commerce transaction is actually really easy because it just follows basically the same format that we do at a cashier, but you don't touch the cashier when you hand money. There's like usually like a little tray you put your money in. And the other thing is that when I went, the ATMs and such had like banking hours, so they would shut them off in the evening or lock the doors. So get your cash out earlier in the day. There's a lot of cash stuff.
Yeah,
but
it kind of defeats the purpose of the automated part of the.
Yes.
Funny you should point that out.
Yes. And yeah, you can also use the postal system to as a bank. That's a good way to access money.
7-Eleven's not a bad place to go if you need to get money out. And Japan is, I mean, we went 10 years ago. I believe that it has not changed at all in terms of how big on cash they are. They are very big on cash still. So
it's sorry, it's just for some reason I had in my mind, I guess maybe certain map projections that I'm looking at messed with the scale on that. Because for some reason I had in my mind that Japan was like not that much bigger than Vancouver Island.
No, it's a big place. They you want a JR pass. If you're there for a week, if you're there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, get a JR pass. The Japan Rail Pass lets you travel on any rail system or bus system or subway system that is branded as JR, like Japan Rail.
Yeah, not all of there's Tokyo Metro, which is a different company. Yeah. So like not all of the rail systems are JR.
Yeah, like we stayed at a place in Yashio. This is not a great idea, but was a good idea. It was a good idea to do it because it was something really off the beaten path. And to get there, you had to take the Tsukuba Express from Akihabara, and Tsukuba Express is a completely different rail company. So we were like, our passes are worthless on this thing. But it did mean that we got to get $200 Shinkansen tickets for free every time we wanted to ride a place. It's like, get on the Shinkansen. You have to go to the location where they have a big green place in every in every rail station. There'll be like a big green JR kiosk or storefront. You go in there, find someone who speaks English or your language of choice, and then tell them where you're going and show them the JR pass, and they will book you a ticket. And you're getting essentially a reserved seat on a specific car. It's not the fanciest one. It's just like you'll have your spot to sit. And yeah, take the rail everywhere. It's awesome. And use the buses. If you can use the buses with the pass, use the buses. Heather and I traveled so much in Japan we paid $600 each for our rail passes. It was like, that's great. That covered 2 weeks of travel for us.
if you have a chance, Jacob is the one who's been to Japan the most recently.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably going to have updated information whether things have changed because of the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's funny because like we can see so much stuff online and we can know about so many things and places to go that it's like Heather and I chose the places to go based on things that we kind of knew we wanted to do. And like our friends Dan and Manny said, you should go check out what was the name of the castle? I just blanked on it.
Oh, Himeji Castle?
Himeji Castle, thank you. Yeah. Go check that out. We did, and it was being renovated, which was an amazing experience because you get to see what it's like when they do professional restorations on World Heritage sites. It's probably all fixed up now, but by and large, yeah, it's mostly like advice about where to get stuff and how to do things as opposed to what should I go look at is more valuable, I think, because
there's not a lot of public seating.
Yeah. Wow, I never realized that.
Yeah.
You're right though.
So if you're out and about, places to sit are like cafes, or usually in like the train stations, they'll have like a smoking area or a temperature control zone. Like it's a separate like waiting room with seats. If you're like me and you need to sit.
Right.
Yeah.
Just random like park benches and stuff are not common.
No.
Huh.
It's fun to try. There's a card called the Suica card.
Oh, Suica's great, yeah.
And there's another card called the Pasmo card. And these are not the same thing, but they have the same function. One half of Japan. Card. Yeah, they're cash card. You fill them up with stuff and you can use them to get on trains, but you can also use them to pay for stuff in stores and whatever. And having them is kind of fun to be able to pay for stuff and do things in different areas of Japan. But they don't, when we went 10 years ago, they were not cross-compatible. You could use one on the east side and one on the west side. And there was like some that kind of, now they pretty much work everywhere. Awesome. Because wow, when they didn't, it sucked.
I have heard that there's some odd like disconnects between like the north and south of Japan. Like they have sort of some of the sort of networks and facilities and stuff sort of arose independently in the two places and they never really connected together very well.
Yeah, like there's a big population density down south.
Yeah. And the west of Japan and the east of Japan have different electrical grids.
Cool.
That's why whenever you buy something that was like made in Japan or like it's like or made for Japan, like a Nintendo Switch or like whatever that has like a switching DC chargers, they'll say 110/120 volt, 50/60 hertz. The reason they say that is because the plugs are all the same, but the frequency rating is different, and they've made the brick so it can actually operate at either of those frequencies and at either voltage.
My favorite thing, I saw somebody was talking about, things that they discover or things that they had, learned while they were in Japan as a tourist, saying if you want to look, they found that if they wanted to like look at a map, they would actually have to hide to look at like a map of where to go.
Really?
Because everybody was so helpful that if they tried to look at a map like in public, they would be immediately surrounded by people attempting to help them and also practice their English. Mm-hmm. And to the extent that it was not actually that helpful.
But also do not fall for the trap that everybody in Japan has learned how to speak English properly. Because I have walked into places expecting that I can be like, because I'll say to somebody, the first thing I say when I walk in and they see me, they know what's coming. But the first thing I'll be is like, "Eigo ga wakarimasu ka?" Because it's the only thing I could remember when I was like frustrated. I'm like flustered. There's like a better way to say, "Do you speak English?" But I said it like that, which is, "Do you understand English?" Yeah. And it's like, that's not the right way to say that. But I think it gives them a hint that this guy doesn't speak Japanese very well.
So that's a good phrase to learn, because I was like 3 days into Japan. We were on the train and I was like helping an old lady get her bags up. And then she turned to me and started a conversation. And I was like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
Nihongo Janai. Ian, how do I say thing? It was definitely a mood killer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like if the thing you're trying to express is I don't speak Japanese,
Yeah, it worked.
eventually they'll pick it up no matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Also, whenever we said sumimasen, everyone would just like lose their minds. It was like, whoa!
The one thing I didn't do is put a Canadian flag on my bag.
It's like, excuse me.
No?
Yeah.
Why not? You didn't want to.
Oh, yeah.
I
You don't
didn't
need
flag
to.
who I was. You don't
Yeah.
need to do any of that stuff anymore, really. It's like, but when people ask, like, I think the one time somebody did say America Jin, and I'm like, Canada Jin, and they're like, because America Jin, that's America person, and I'm like, no, Canada Jin, and they're like, oh. Only happened once, because they don't care otherwise. You're just a tall white guy blundering through their country,
Yeah.
trying to be polite.
Don't practice your Japanese at a Starbucks. Just order English. Don't do it.
That sounds like the name of a like Japan travel guide.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
don't
you
practice your Japanese at a Starbucks. How to get along in Japan.
Just walk in, get your grande honey latte, and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Starbucks kind of has its own language anyway, so you're probably fine.
Yes.
I do think that it's cool that, like, Heather and I are thinking about going back, and it's like, I need to find a way to make sure that I'll have data on my phone, or like some sort of like swap SIM cards or whatever. Because when we went over there, we didn't do any of that. We thought about doing it, and we thought, well, maybe we'll look into trying to do it, and we depended mostly on like hotel Wi-Fi to try to help us out.
Sorry,
but
it was me.
I
was
that's
looking
okay.
at how to
I
say
was like,
something in-
Sarah?
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah.
I was looking at how to say something in Japanese. My bad.
Your accent's really good. So anyway, but yeah, nowadays it's like, if I went, it's been 10 years. If we went now, we'd get a data plan, or we get voice plans or whatever, travel plans, or, over there. And I would just like use GPS. I would use the mapping. I would use all the apps. I tried to use apps to like find what to go on what places. It's like, you don't have to do any of that anymore. It's like technology has improved so many things.
Real-time Google translating is actually super good too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, another thing. There's a seating fee at bars. So you go in, you sit down, they'll charge you for taking a seat at the counter. Especially like if you go to Piss Alley. Like, bar hopping is way more expensive because you have to like pay for sitting.
Just to come in and be there, it's like you're paying a charge just for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Piss Alley, I think.
Not all bars. Yes, okay. Not all bars do that. That's true. But it can happen, especially if you're doing like a touristy thing.
Mm. Oh yeah, the one thing I was hoping to do when we go is that apparently there really is a Yokohama ramen museum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard
And-
good things about the Roman Museum.
Yeah, and I haven't been, and I'm like, I want to go there the next time we go. If that place is still available, it's like, I want to go do that, because it's not just like, oh, it's a museum that it's like the Hiroshima Peace Arch. It's like, no, it's not like that kind of museum. It is, you go there and it's if I remember this correctly, it's like a big Showa era, 1960s, 70s era, like street storefronts on a street that are all different ramen places from all around the country, all cooking their
All right.
specialty ramen.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's my theme park type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a lot of very old ramen.
Yeah, no, it's all like, go get whatever you want from wherever you want to eat it. It's like touring the country by ramen and trying all the different ways they make it. So yeah,
Neat.
yeah. When we went, Heather and I, in Tokyo, we basically went to like Akihabara, and that was pretty much it. Like, I think we ended up on the Cat Street, which I have no idea what era of Tokyo that's in, but it was a cat street. But there's probably a dozen cat streets in Japan. There's probably a dozen cat
Shinjuku.
streets in Tokyo.
Right.
Maybe like, and we like did that, but that was by accident. We basically just went to Akihabara, and then we did the Ghibli Museum and went to Tohoku immediately after that. We're like, we're gonna go see our friends who live up near Morioka, and so that's it. And when we came back through, it's like, okay, we got a few days left in Tokyo. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have it out one more time, just in case we want to do stuff. We're gonna go to the it's New Year's, so we're gonna go to Asakusa, go to the giant shrine, and we're gonna get our fortunes, and we're gonna pray for a good year, and then we're gonna go to the Pokemon Center because they're having a New Year special on plushies. And it's like, we didn't spend a lot of time in Tokyo. You don't have to spend a lot of time in Tokyo to have a good time there. So, I think we've really...
I mean, there's always more. There's just
there's
toilet signs will often list if it's a squat toilet or a regular like Western toilet. There's a really cool train line out to Odaiba that gives you like a scenic big loop. Ian calls it a monorail. It's not technically a monorail.
Oh.
But I think it's like rubber tires on a track.
Oh, cool.
But
all right.
Yeah. Go out there, go see the big Gundam. The Museum of the Future is really fun. I don't know what the exhibits they have are, but they've got like a big projector. Well, it's a big screen ball that they show the moon on, or the Earth with weather patterns. And that's where they filmed a lot of Kamen Rider Forze. Although a lot of Odaiba is where they film a lot of Kamen Rider anyways.
I did see somebody post a thing the other day that you can... There's a company that is selling tours of a quarry where they shoot a lot of that stuff. And for $350, they will take your picture in front of the explosions going off in the quarry.
You know what? Yeah. Oh,
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I told Heather, she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh.
No, I would. I would.
Except all of the pictures would just be like...
Yeah, my biggest regret was not spending $300 on a big Macross Super Dimension Fortress model that was metal and like large.
Right. SDF1?
Yeah.
How do you get that home?
That was why I didn't buy it.
That'd be like probably more than $300.
When we bought our we went to the Pokemon Center on New Year's, and we were in this long line, and it was like early in the morning, and it was like nothing else was open but just the Pokemon Center. And they had so we got in line, and we'd seen on the thing, it said, I can read on here, it says like 49.80 yen, and they showed a sleeping Oshawott, a sleeping Snivy, and a sleeping Tepig. And it's like, oh, okay, so they're $50 each. Well, we'll get one of each, I guess is what'll happen. And we get into line, and then we find out, no, it's a set. You have to buy them. And like, oh, so it's $50 each for each one in the set. And so they said, how many of these do you want? And I just went, one. Just we want the one set.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And so I go buy the ticket, and they charge me $50. And I'm like, it's $50 for the set? Wait. And I looked in the thing again. I saw how big they were, and I'm like, there's no way. And we go around the corner, and there's this giant ass bag that has the 3 huge plushes, sleeping Pokemon plushes, $50. And I'm like, why didn't I say I wanted more of these? I could flip these online for so much money.
So did you like stuff them in your pants like exotic birds and smuggle them on the airplane?
You should have got the deflated ones.
Yeah.
we didn't know what to do, because it was like, briefly we're like, this is great, but they're huge and they're in this bag, and what are we gonna do? And I'm like, we don't have a lot of time before our flight. Like, we got like several hours, but it's like, we got to figure out how to package these things. But also, it's the 3rd of January, and nothing's open. Where do we know that's open? We're like, Akiba's always open. Like, there's always something going on, and like, because it's a huge tourist trap. I'm like, so we went back to Akiba, and I'm like, there was a luggage place around here, and we found a luggage place that had like duffel bags that were like $15. And I'm like, big ass duffel bag. So we just put these 3 plus other plushes inside of it and zipped it up, and like, we'll tag it, we'll put it on the plane, and we'll hope it makes it home. Like, what else are we gonna do?
Was most of your luggage coming back from Japan plushes?
Yes, actually it was.
Ours was mostly like vinyl figures.
I threw out all of my clothing.
To make room for plushes?
Yes.
I will wear Snorlax from now on.
We went to Japan with the idea that when we returned, I would throw out all of my clothing. I brought all my worst pants, worst shirts, worst underwear and socks so that when we left, I would just throw it all in the trash bin. I'd only have what was on my body, and we just put all of our souvenirs in the bag, and that's what we did. And we had to buy an extra bag, and I thought, we'll have room, and we didn't. We need an extra bag anyway. I'm like, doesn't matter. I don't care. But that's how you travel to another country.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you don't mind the people in that country thinking that you are dressed in horrible clothes, right?
No, leave other countries your garbage and take all their riches.
Mm.
It's very colonial.
And
Kinda
that's
glad
our
you didn't-
advice for Japan.
Kind of glad you didn't put the Canadian flag on your bag now.
Nothing but just Canadian boxer shorts that I threw in the hotel trash. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like, man, oh yeah, I remember some Canadians came by here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, they were dirty and nasty people. They left all their clothes in the garbage.
People are like, did you throw your clothes all at once or just when you were done? No, okay, so now it's a different thing. It's not about visiting Japan, it's just about what I did going to Japan, I guess. But what I did is I had 3 shirts with me. One I was wearing, a nicer shirt in my bag, and a less nice shirt in my bag.
See, this is what I was talking about with receipts.
Yes. And then I had
You were Wes Andersoning, like you were just knolling your entire history.
Yes. 2 pairs of identical pants. One of which had a big cut in the knee, so I'm like, I know I'm throwing this away. We've already sewed it up, but I'm throwing these away because I'm not going to wear these anymore.
What year was this?
2011. Yes, coming home in 2012, so because it was over the New Year's break, so 2011. I was an old still,
Yes.
So we had, I had like 4 pair of underwear and 4 pair of socks. We were there for 19 days. And here's how you make that work. Laundry detergent. Because when you stay at business hotels, they have washer dryers, which I could never figure out, but they also have sinks and clotheslines in all of the bathrooms in your business hotel.
Yes,
So-
you can do that.
So we washed all of our clothing in the sinks, rinsed it in the bathtub, and then hang it up overnight. And so it's like I have several days in which like we land at a place, we do all of our laundry, we let it dry, and then over the course of while we're there, I just put on brand new clothing. And then when it was time to go again, we'd either wash them all before we left or we'd wash them when we get to the location. And then again, I just have that. I'd be able to just wear my way through these as they went. It was like, that meant that I didn't have to have a huge bag with like 19 changes of clothes. Because why do you need to carry that much clothing around with you all the time?
That's a good point. Somebody in chat brought up for those of us joining us from the UK. When Beej is talking about pants, he means trousers.
Both,
Yes.
in this case.
Yes.
Yeah, hello Raiders. We're talking about doing your laundry in the bathroom sink while traveling in
Mhm.
order to stretch 4 days of clothing to 19 days.
Yep. It can be done, and it can be done several times.
Yeah,
Over and over again.
I went traveling around the States a bit, and you're traveling like every your stuff in your backpack thing. Yeah, you can't just carry enough clothes for like a month around with you all the time.
Yeah.
So
You can always do that thing where it's like, I'll wear clothing for the first half of the trip, and then when we have a chance to shop, I'll just go buy a bunch more
Oh,
clothing.
thank God.
I'll get rid of all my dirty clothes, and then I'll just wear all these new clean clothes that I just bought.
or just do laundry.
Yeah, just do laundry. There's people all around the world do laundry. There's ways to do your laundry. Like, anyway.
Or you could just throw out all your clothes and buy new clothes.